Welcome to the Mastering Business Skills podcast, where we interview successful small business owners who share their own journey, mastering the skills they needed to grow and be successful in their business. Learn the struggles, the wins, and all the things they learned along the way, so you can cut down on your own learning curve.
Welcome to Mastering Business Skills. Today we're talking with Shawna Suckow, an author and speaker who loves to help audiences gain new insights that leave a lasting impression and drive action. She doesn't believe in business as usual lectures. She speaks to audiences all over the world about how to differentiate themselves and their companies so that they can stand out better, build trust quicker, and become more memorable to their prospects in a crowded marketplace. Her newest book, Small Is Your Superpower, shows you how you can compete against any size competitor and win. You have an edge over big brands today by leveraging your natural assets. Welcome to the show, Shawna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
You're
I'm
welcome.
so excited.
We're glad to have you here.
Yeah. So I read your book recently and I loved your book. So it was not another dry business book that you kind of flip through the pages and highlight and you're like, okay. It's so relatable, and the humor like had me laughing all the time throughout it. And I kept taking all my little notes, and I have all these notes that Sharon will get to hear all about on our strategy call soon. Because I have like, this is how we can change our messaging. This is what we can do.
Aww.
So I was really excited about it. And in the book, you do say to stop generating professional content that sounds like everyone else and start saying what your customers actually need to hear in a voice and perspective that are unmistakably yours. So tell us more about why that's important, and also a couple of examples of what that could look like.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for reading the book and for finding it funny. That is like the best compliment, because we all probably think we're funny, but when somebody else thinks we're funny, it's like, woohoo! So thank you. Okay, so stop being and sounding like everybody else. There's actually, for your strategy session and for all of your listeners, I have an exercise that you can do. So do you want to go through it?
Yes.
Yes, please.
So what I tell my audiences is, okay, picture that you and I are at like a soccer game, and our kids are on the field playing soccer in one of those day-long, never-ending tournaments, and we strike up a conversation. And I find out that you have a business, and I say, oh, tell me more about you, your business, whatever. What 5 things would you say to me that would make you stand out in my mind from your competition and be memorable? And when I do this, so do that in your strategy session, although I'm going to give you the cheat code right now. So when I do that for my audiences, I give them a couple minutes to think it through. And then I say, who has a word they'd like to share? And people start shouting out words from different corners of the room, like professional, reliable, consistent, dependable, family owned, all sorts of good things. I mean, these are all good things to be. But every word that somebody says, I say, okay, anybody else has the word professional, cross it off your list of 5. Anybody else has, and I go through probably 30 words. And then I say, okay, the reason I'm doing this is to show you that your 5 words aren't even standing out in this small room of a couple hundred people,
Right.
let alone your city, your state, your country, wherever it is that you're marketing. So it's great to be those things, but you have to find a different way to convey those same things so that you stand out from your competition. And so that's like the number one struggle that I see with small businesses is differentiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I actually have outside of my like LinkedIn and professional businesses, I also have a pet care business. So, and it's funny because on my homepage for years now, like I've written my copy kind of like, oh, we want your pets to have fun while you're away. Don't worry, we won't let them have any parties while you're gone, but we'll give them lots of love and stuff. So I was like, oh, I'm on target with that copies and that messaging. So I just need to put more of that messaging in the so-called professional arena that we all,
Right.
Yes, less buzzwords, fewer buzzwords, and professionals speak and just, talk like you would talk to a friend.
Right.
And nobody's going to say, if you say, "What do you do?" "I offer quality care in your home or mine."
right.
Where, you're not going to sound like that in real life. So
Right.
we
Right.
can't talk that way anymore in our marketing because it actually chips away, it erodes trust and likability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. Very true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it trips a lot of small businesses up because
Yeah.
we thought, well, I started in the workforce in the 90s. And so anybody who's like my age or older, we were raised at a time where we had to be professional. I had to wear
Mhm.
pantyhose to work.
Oh, yeah.
There were no bare legs. There were, it
Right.
was, and I had to speak professionally, write professionally. And
Hmm.
so this takes a lot of unlearning the
Yes.
Yeah,
older you are.
it does.
But younger generations, I think, find it easier because they never had that beaten into them in
Right.
the first
Yes.
place to be
Yeah.
super professional all the time. So they have
Yeah.
less of a filter.
Yeah,
That's
I think
very
Sharon
true.
and I find that too. That
Yeah.
it's like we also were raised in that, like
Yep.
you go to work no matter what. You show like you don't ask for time off. You don't, you dress the part. You had the
Right.
suits and the skirts and the all of the heels and the
Yes.
makeup and everything perfect, everything professional.
Right.
And yeah, so when you're in your own, especially having that, I guess, ability to be more yourself. It's for those of us that were raised in that era, it's ingrained in us too,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
sometimes our messaging, it'll be like Sharon, I'll kind of be like, oh, we want to put this, and then we're like, but should we? Or should we, like, or should we keep
Yeah.
it professional? And then sometimes if you do change it and somebody else from that same realm, sees it, they're like, oh, you shouldn't put that in there because that just
Right.
doesn't sound nice. And that doesn't flow and that's not professional and it's whatever. So, yep.
My worst, most hated phrase, "that's not professional." Like, what
Right.
is that anymore? Like before COVID, I would be mortified if I had my dog walk into the room while I was on a Zoom.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
like any one of us could have a pet walk in or the doorbell ring. And
Spouse.
it's like, oh, you just acknowledge it or a
Yeah.
spouse or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. In fact, we usually start asking questions about what just happened. "Oh, is that your dog?" And it's
Yeah.
humanizing. It's not
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm not doing business with her." That
Right.
doesn't happen anymore.
That's something I've found this year especially. I don't know why, but this year especially, it's been be more of a human when you're talking with someone
Yeah.
and have that connection that, before when you would do business, or I know for me anyway, when you would do meetings on Zoom or over the phone or whatever, it was you'd be very professional, humor and humanity didn't really come into my conversations.
No,
Now
no.
it's like, I'm going to be me,
Can
why
I?
do I want to keep that staunch, image? It's like, no.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this
I'm
year, for some
gonna,
reason, it's really come out
well,
that way.
sorry to interrupt, but I just noticed I'm leaning. So I'm gonna humanize myself here and be like, I have not been imbibing, I swear. But your instincts, Sharon, are exactly dead on. We are exhausted
Yeah,
by the layers of professionalism and having to perform, essentially,
yeah,
having to be this version of ourselves that we're just too exhausted to keep putting effort into.
yeah,
And the world is changing and allowing more of that because, especially in the US, we're over it. I call it our BS meter. And we just are like,
yeah,
ugh, here comes Mr. Three-piece suit talking about features and benefits. And,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
too
No.
much. It's too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember when I started my business, 20 years ago, my son was little at the time, and I had that whole like, you need to be professional, and I was working from home and I was juggling everything, and I had a sudden client call. So I, at the same time, trying to be all professional and talk on this call and stuff, and my son's having this complete meltdown on the backside of me that about wanting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And like it was like a whole thing. So I'm trying to mute the call and like be like, calm down, calm down. And then I'm like unmuting and then I'm muting. And I'm thinking that I'm pulling this off so great and I'm all proud of myself, like pull pat on the back thing. Like a couple hours later, I get an email from this client that just said, I've been craving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich all afternoon and I'm not sure why. I was like, oh, so I did not pull that off as well as I.
But I bet that strengthened your relationship with that client.
It did. And you know what's funny too was from there on I realized like my values were family first. So at the time, I was new to a business, building a business, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? And then I realized like, oh, it's my call who I work with. So if I would say when I was talking to our prospects, my family comes first, and there's going to be times my son's going to be there, or we have something going on because he was asthmatic too. So I spent a lot of time in hospitals and whatever. And if they had an issue with it, I was like, you know what? I don't think we're a good fit, but I have somebody else that I can refer you to. It's just not going to be me, and it took a little bit to get used to doing that. But then I was like, oh, now my grandbabies come in all the time. Like they'll be running by, they'll come in. Sometimes I'm sitting on a call and they just pop up on my lap and I'm like, okay, there they are.
Erin, you were so far ahead of the curve 20 years ago to be standing in your authenticity and who you really were and are, that so many of us didn't give ourselves permission to do that since COVID, until COVID came along. And really, just changed everything. So now it's just so much more universal. If you find people that still insist on being super professional, they probably are not small business owners. They're probably maybe within a corporation, or they are of a certain generation where it's just not appropriate.
Right.
No matter how the world's changing. And I think that that's sad because I want to show up at my work and with my clients the same way that I show up everywhere else. And when I gave myself permission to do that, mine wasn't until 2015. Everything changed for my business. I started attracting my exact right customers, like I talk about in the book. And I'm guessing you did too, Erin.
Yeah.
So it's a magical thing. And that's one of the positive things I think that came out of COVID. There aren't many, but that is one of them.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Although I do still always wear pants when I'm on a Zoom.
Do they match?
And they do match, and they're not my pajama bottoms either.
Wow.
I mean, Sharon and I may have had a couple Zoom calls where we have been in our pajamas, but not like professional calls.
You're like making the rest of us look bad. Even though nobody will see it, we know what we're wearing.
In my head, I am that person that's like, you know what, if I wasn't wearing pants or something, like inevitably the dog would like throw up outside the door or something would happen or somebody would fall and I'd jump up and then I'd be like, hey. So I just always make sure that I am.
But that would make a great story,
Yeah.
Make a great story.
Now, I might have on shorts, but I will at least always have on something on the bottom. Because I would be the same way. I would stand up inevitably on the one time that I might not have had pants on. That would be me.
Yes. Yeah. It's a low bar, but it's a bar to wear something. That's my bar. That's my bar too.
I don't want to ever become a meme on.
Exactly.
Oh, those poor people. Yes.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about your customer brandships zone. So the primary traits in that are differentiated, trustworthy, and unforgettable, which in turn also makes your business relatable, influential, and magnetic. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with that and how it's really not that difficult for small businesses to implement that right away.
So that I am a big nerd. I love a Venn diagram. I love them for some, especially the ones that are hilarious and unintended, that have come out as memes. But I've been talking for probably 10 years about the main three: standing out, building trust, and being unforgettable. And I realized when I put them into a Venn diagram that there were these three other overlapping areas where two would meet, but the third one wouldn't. And I was like, what would those be? And I realized, okay, that those are actually pretty important to understand too, because as I was thinking about the Venn diagram, you can pick two of those and it will build on the third one, even if you're not that good at it. Like you can stand out and you can build trust, and that in turn will make you unforgettable. Or you can stand out and be unforgettable, like some realtors that dance on TikTok or whatever, and that builds trust. Not with everybody, but with your exact right customers. That's what we're talking about here. And so that's kind of how it was born. And I'm fascinated by the other three, the sub traits, if you will, that came out of that, because again, you can focus on two of those and the third one naturally follows. So you don't have to be naturally good at all three. But if you're good at two, usually the third one is going to happen because you're better than you think. So,
True.
yeah.
True.
And what was your part two? I think you had a part two to that
Yeah, the part two to that was talking to our small business owners, which is pretty much our audience, about how it's not that hard to make that shift if they're not already doing it, and implement that it's as something they do right away versus something they have to, put off for a later date or, prep for.
The newer your business is, the more you can just start from the beginning. It is a little bit more challenging when you've come to be known in one way and you pivot to be more of who you really are and more of the clients that you want to attract. It's a little bit of a shift, but really all it means is forget about perfection. Forget about what I just said earlier today that I was very proud of. Are you ready? Performative professionalism. It's like putting on airs so you look and sound, like your biggest competitors. The challenge with that is if you're a small business, like if I have, I almost said Bob's Burgers, but let's go with Bob's Burgers. If I own a restaurant called Bob's Burgers, I will never compete head to head with McDonald's. I don't have the millions and billions of dollars, nor do I have the history, so I can't play in their sandbox. I have to create my own. And that comes from telling my story. If I'm Bob or if I'm Bob's grandson, and this has been around for a while, it comes from taking the performative nature of things away, losing the polish, losing the McDonald's professionalism, consistency, all those things that the logo and everything has to be corporate standards, and just talk about a day in the life of you or a customer or a vendor or one of your employees or a new business that opened up next door, and you talk about it. It's what are the stories that go into making your day or making that burger or recognizing that employee's 1-year anniversary with you. It's the stories that make us more memorable. They stand out more than facts, advertisements, features, or benefits. And that's what makes us unforgettable and trustworthy. I mean, it all flows together. The more that we just lose the filter, lose the act, and just talk. And I liken it to, Kim Kardashian probably still has a huge following. I don't know. But now we trust micro influencers we've never seen before, who are just talking to us about an experience or a product or a place they went to. Those are the people that we trust.
Yep.
So it's being more like that than Kim Kardashian.
Right. And that's funny because I remember back several years ago, people would be like, oh, well, you need to be, just like Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield, and you need to do all this and you need to do all this hype. And it's like, I want to be myself. I don't want to be the next Amy Porterfield. I don't,
Yeah.
it's like I want to be authentic and be myself and have my own
Yeah.
stories and talk about what I do, not try to make myself look like something else.
And she's a good example. Amy Porterfield has always just kind of been her approachable,
Yeah,
helpful, truth-telling self. And I
right.
think that's why her empire grew so much, and she still resonates today.
Yeah,
Like there are
Yeah.
thought leaders from 10, 15 years ago that started when she started, but they're not around
right.
because
Yeah.
they're just not relevant and people grew tired of the performance.
Yeah, that's true.
But she's
That's
still
Yeah.
around. We
Yeah.
can't do everything she does. We don't have her resources, but I've taken her courses and I glean what
yeah,
I can, but then I
yeah,
have to do it in my way.
right, right. And
Yeah.
that's me. I mean,
Yeah.
I've taken her courses too, and it's like, okay, but I'm still going to do it my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll incorporate things that make sense for me and my
Right.
exact right customers, but I know better than anybody else what that is.
Yeah.
So I have to,
And I
build
think
that.
I think most people are going to be that way too. I mean, not everything is going to work in the same way for everyone. You got to do what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great lesson for any small
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. I think that's what makes both Amy and Marie relatable and around as long as they have been, because even those are two podcasts that I actually listen to.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big, like, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. And I don't read a lot of newsletters, but both of theirs I do. And I know Amy still writes her own newsletter. And even on her podcast, like she was recently talking about her recent launch, and it wasn't like, oh, this is so great, this is what happened. It was, hey, this is where I messed up in my
Right.
webinars and stuff. And then my team was like, let's correct this. And little by little, she's like, it took a little bit of time, but I got it right towards the end of them. But she's like, my early promotions, because we changed things and whatever, she's like, it didn't hit the way I expected it to and stuff. So, and the same with Marie. Marie will be like, here's what I'm going to teach you. Have an open mind, but take what works for you and what
Yeah.
resonates, and leave the
Right.
rest. And yeah,
I
that's
think I mean, dead on. I think there's a point at which small businesses become bigger businesses. They're doing all the things right. And then as they get bigger, they lose that amazing instinct to show the messy middle and show the
Right.
failures and share what you learned from them, and they start to change, and that's when I think you lose the secret sauce, if you will,
yeah.
that made your small business as successful as it became.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so that's another challenge when a business gets to a certain size, and then they start to get layers of approvals, and they start to lose their why and their who and the who for, and that's another challenge for another podcast that is not my expertise. Like, what do you do then? But yeah, keeping small
Yeah.
businesses true to who they are is my goal, or
Yeah.
unveiling, who they've been hiding.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So talk to us now a little bit about the tools to actually get our message out to the right people. How do we know we're promoting in the right place for our audience and where our audience actually is? I mean,
Ooh.
when is it a good time to change the direction if needed? Is there a good time?
Oh, okay. You're gonna have to remind me about those second two
Sure,
questions.
sure.
But the first one, I just found this out literally last week. So my research showed that of 20 possible marketing problems that small businesses face, the number one is there are so many platforms. I don't know
Mm,
which ones, and all of them, or just I don't know which ones to choose.
right.
So that is a huge frustration. And small businesses feel like our customers could be anywhere, so we have to be everywhere. And
Right.
it's not doable. We don't have those resources, time, money, all those things. And it wears your marketing too thin. And so what I tell all my small businesses is pick one platform, maybe two. And it's easier if what you post on the one can easily just be posted on the second one without having to change the formatting or,
Right.
any of that stuff. And the way that you can easily figure out which platform is go to AI and just say that this, if your AI doesn't know you yet, you're going to have to
Right.
explain a little bit more, but just say, this is my business. This is my exact right customer, and get as specific as you can. And what is the best platform for me and frequency for me? Because the frequency is going to depend on your sales cycle. Like if you're a realtor, do you want to be posting every single day? I think that would be
Right.
exhausting because most people that are following you probably don't have a need right then. They
Right.
may not have a need for a year or 5 years. And so that's got a long sales cycle, so you can slow it down. You want to be present just enough so they don't forget you, but
Right.
not overpowering and annoying. So I think that's a great use of AI for a small business. And make sure you tell it, ask me questions until you fully understand my business and my customers and my
Right.
goals. That's the phrase that pays. Okay, what was the other that I
The
covered?
other one is, when is it a good time to change direction? And
Today.
is there a right time to change?
The best day to change was yesterday, and the second best day is today. And as I said earlier, I think the more established your business is, the more you have a little bit more difficulty because you have established habits and patterns and so forth. You don't want to confuse your buyers,
Right.
but the buyers who already know and love you aren't going to leave because if they really do love your business and your products, your services, you or your team or whoever, they're already loyal. And so if you're posting on social, not to reaffirm their choice of you, but to prospect to get more of your exact right customers, today, just start. Don't put it off. I just did this video for my own good because I've been gonna start a podcast for like years now. So it's partly for me, but also for my audience. I was walking through the airport and I just decided to film one of my small business marketing tips. And the point was, don't wait for the exact right background, lighting, perfect message, script, teleprompter, which I don't do that anyway. But a lot of us wait for all the circumstances, all the stars to align before we start. And so my point was, this very video is probably more engaging because I'm walking through an airport. It stopped your scroll more than if you saw me just sitting in my usual background, because this is normal for me. So just start and start chipping away at it. And the more that the more that you see the results that I know you're going to get, the more that you're going to want to change faster. But you have to give it a run for its money. You have to give it at least 3 months, just a rule of thumb. Give it 3 months to see if it's going to work for you. And it's not like you can post a couple times and go, well, that didn't work
Yeah.
Yeah.
for any of us.
Or I always say too, if you're posting like once a week, for instance, maybe give it 6 months.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Or if your sales cycle is longer,
Yeah.
the price tag of whatever it is you're selling is bigger,
Right.
you're going to need a little bit more time. But if you're posting as if you're writing or talking to your exact right customer, they're going to resonate with that.
Right.
And it's unmistakable when it happens. And it will happen as long as you're consistent. And the other point is, it's better to be consistent on one channel than inconsistent on
Yeah.
all of them.
Right.
Yeah. And
That's
sometimes with
very,
social media, I know it's a little bit different because you don't know how many people are actually watching what you're doing without interacting with you. Because we just had a group of us had that conversation just last week about, does LinkedIn really do anything for us? And, and for me, I've had people show up like out of the blue to want to, that want to work with me. And I'm like, well, you've never interacted with any of my posts or anything. Oh, I've been watching you on here for years. Oh,
Yep.
okay, great. Or I've even had clients who have hired me and then said, the reason I hired you versus, you know, so and so that I talked to also is because of your social media posts and the fact that you don't post like raunchy things or anything like that, and you're
Yeah.
like the posts that you do put up are done gracefully and nicely, and and all of that. And I thought that was interesting because people don't, especially sometimes I always tell my kids, like, whatever you put on social media, it stays there forever. Even if you think you've deleted it, it is somewhere. Like, I promise
Mhm.
you, it is
Yeah.
somewhere forever.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it. Like, they go in for interviews, and I've heard so many stories of people getting turned down because they go in for these job interviews, and then the
Yep.
HR goes and looks at their Facebook or whatever, and they have it public so people can see it, and it's the latest party or the latest, like the I got
Yep.
drunk last Friday night, and they just don't want to see that.
Right.
Depending on the business.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, it's figuring out the exact right customers that you want to have. If you could
Yep.
clone your favorite customer and work with people exactly like them, what a pleasure work would be.
Hmm.
How much easier would your marketing be because
Oh, yeah.
you know exactly who you're talking to. That
Yeah.
can happen. That can start happening today.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
take the risk because it does feel risky
Yeah.
to change anything in your small business that has worked up to this point is risky. But I will challenge you, is it working as well as it used to?
Right.
If it's slowing down, are you blaming the market or is it maybe just not working the way it used to because things are changing?
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
it's not the economy, maybe it's something else.
Right.
And even if it is the economy, then even more so, you have to really double down on what is going to work for you. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. You have to change, pivot,
yeah,
whatever, adapt.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
yeah, we
And
have to
sometimes it's hard for
because,
people to be open to that change
Yeah.
idea because
Yeah.
they've done it so,
So
so
long.
long the same
Yeah.
way.
yeah. And what got you to this point were the things like, say, you've been in business for 20 years. It's the things you started 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago probably aren't going to work
No.
today because it's a different world, it's a different audience. We have different culture things at
Oh,
play,
yeah.
just so much change. And so, yeah, it's don't rely on the things that you started 20 years ago to take you forward for another 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I,
Because
I've been doing this for about 30 years now, and it's like, I don't know that anything I did 30 years ago is still in effect today. I mean, things have changed so much that, yeah, I don't think anything I did 30 years ago even has any place
we
now.
have potential customers who are under 30. Like Gen Z is starting more businesses per
Yeah.
capita than any other generation. I mean,
Yeah.
there's such entrepreneurs. And so, yeah, it's they would not resonate at all with things that, we
No,
did in the 90s or the aughts.
no, no, absolutely not.
So,
So
yeah.
we talk about mastering business skills. And so I know from your bio that you're a proud CSP. Now, for those of you who don't know that, know what that is the highest designation a speaker can earn. It's like a master's degree in professional speaking.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what it took to get to that and how you mastered it to that level.
It was it was rigorous. It you have to have at least 5 years of measurable data, and between 5 and 10 years. They will look back 10 years.
Wow.
And at least 5 of those years, you have to have a, You have to have at least 250 speaking engagements under your belt. But then you have to have a certain amount of earnings in those 5 years. You have to track every speaking engagement. You have to get letters of recommendation from 20 past clients. There's a peer review of your speaker video, and nobody is harder on speakers than other speakers.
Oh,
And I'm sure there are some things I'm forgetting. Oh, you have to take certain classes, and yeah, it's pretty rigorous. And it, I was so proud of achieving that because it is the highest, and only
that's
a
amazing.
fraction. It's like maybe 11% of the members of National Speakers Association have that designation, let alone all the other speakers all over the world because it's a worldwide thing as well. And so yeah, I was very proud of that, and it was something. I'm glad I don't ever have to go through that again.
That's amazing. I mean, for someone like me who I consider myself an introvert mostly, public speaking or any kind of speaking absolutely terrifies the daylights out of me. And for what you do, it's just it blows my mind.
I
It
used to be exactly that way.
oh
I only came into my speaking career in my early 40s. Before that, I would have rather swallowed glass than
yeah,
be on the stage. I
I understand
preferred
that.
to be, yeah, in the background.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. No, thank you. But
Yeah.
I, I was a corporate buyer and I wrote my first book to help people that were marketing and selling to corporate buyers. And the phone started ringing and people were like, "Would you come talk to our company?" And I was like, "Ew, no." And eventually I had some friends in the industry say, "Would you just come talk to my team? We'll give you a chicken dinner or whatever." And the more I said yes, the more I realized I have knowledge that's really valuable. They It will make their lives and their jobs so much easier because nobody is helping them. And I realized it wasn't about me. And that it took like a year of repetition before I finally was like over myself. And but I tell you, the first couple minutes when you do step on stage, that is about you. You have to win them over. You have to show that you're likable and smart and all these things in a really short window. And if you get over that, then it becomes about them. So but yeah, it was awful.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm so impressed by that because that's truly amazing. I
How
can
did you find out about that? And like what made you want to go for that versus
right.
just staying the course and just doing whatever
Well,
speaking gigs came up?
it was realizing that I could be helpful, like really helpful. And they didn't have a way to get this information otherwise because their customers weren't telling them exactly what they needed to do differently. And it was the phone started ringing and people started throwing money at me. And I was like, you'll pay for this kind of information? And so I took a couple little ones here and there. And then I was like, okay, with each one, I got more confident. And it was reinforcing how much I can be helpful and how much this info is needed. And so it was a culmination of I had my own business, and this was like, okay, this is side money at a time when the economy wasn't great. And
Yeah.
so I just said yes more and more, along with this feels really good to be helpful. And yeah, got over myself.
That's awesome. That's
Nice.
awesome. So what's next for your business?
Oh my gosh. So so I just launched my seventh book last month.
Right?
And I have been looking at that launch as like the end zone. It is not. It's only the beginning. And
Yep.
so I have never done a proper book launch before. I am really working to get this book into as many hands of small business owners as possible, especially because they don't necessarily have a way to work with me directly or see me at a conference. And so I want them to have access to this.
Right.
And so that's what's next is more just getting the word out and getting the book into as many hands as possible. Even if they just bought the Kindle version or did Kindle Unlimited, there are links in the book to a free vault, no paywall, no email required, that it's just like, here are all these resources, like marketing assessments and tools and my very own Shawna bot, which is my AI, my custom GPT with all my thought leadership and books and blogs uploaded into it so they can, ask me and get a response as close to what I would advise as possible. And so, yeah, just getting this into hands.
Cool. That's
I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today and go through everything. And we are going to drop your LinkedIn and your book link
Right.
and your site, everything, all of your info in the show notes so that others can look, find you, maybe get you to speak for them. And definitely everybody needs to buy this book because it's awesome. So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. And there are lots of dogs in the book because dogs.
There are, yes. I
Dogs.
love that too, since I am also a dog lover. I have 4.
Yay.
So
Yay. I love that.
yes, that was another favorite part of mine. Even the superhero dog, the little tips. Is little
Yes.
superhero dog.
Little
I
dog,
love
super dog.
that.
Thank you both. This has been so fun and just conversational. I just loved it.
Yeah, we did
Yes,
too. Thank you so much for
thank you.
being here.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
And for everybody else, we hope you tune in again next week for our next episode. Thank you.